Our very special guest today is Tyler Jones of Carmichael Consulting. Hello, Tyler. How are you, sir?
Hey, John, great to see you.
Well, listen, last week you talked about document retention and how that can be implemented on a digital basis. I sort of got lost at a couple of points there, but I did get some great safety information. The question that has come up this week is one I know you've heard before because it has been in the news. What is ransomware? How does it happen? And what can we do? I mean, I realize I'm not a Colonial Pipeline, okay? I'm not a multi-international billion-dollar organization. But are ransomware, are these people interested in small business in some cases? And tell us what we need to know, please.
Yeah, they absolutely are, John. And that's one of the things that we talk about with customers and prospects all the time. There was a time when a lot of these things were really targeting larger organizations, but this is now a multi-billion-dollar a year business. And the bad
Wow.
guys aren't doing this to be mean. They are unintentionally. They're doing it because it's incredibly profitable. They spend a negligible amount on developing software that will basically encrypt all of your information and then hold it hostage. And they ransom it back to you. And the new twist on this is the additional threat is if you don't pay the ransom, not only will you lose that data, but they'll release it. So if you've got confidential information in there, if you've got social security numbers, bank routing information, things like that, they will threaten to release that publicly and make life even harder for you. So unfortunately, it's not just the big guys that get hit by this anymore. We certainly see the news stories, and we've seen several recently. Colonial Pipeline, Kaseya, the meat production company. There have been a lot of them, and that's just very, very recently. The problem is that it is just a game of numbers for the bad guys. So they are targeting everyone they can find to try and hit with this. And while they may not demand a $4 million ransom from somebody small, they are still going to demand a ransom. And we have worked with folks who came to us specifically because the provider they were using let them get hit by this kind of stuff, and they're going to go under if they don't find some way to get that data recovered. And we've had to come to the rescue for folks in the pinch like that a few times now. So here's what people need to be aware of. Again, they don't care if you're not huge. What they care about is that you have data that's important to you. And as you and I have talked about for years and years and years now, it's easy to replace a computer. That's not the hard part. The most valuable thing I have on my technology is the data that I created. And that is what's irreplaceable. Right. So we've got to consider this a very real and very serious threat for all of us. So there's a handful of things to do. One is make sure you've got good antivirus on your computer. Make sure you've got some kind of protection on there. Two, make sure that your system is patched and up to date. If you're still running a Windows 7 or Windows 8 machine, if you're getting alerts that there are patches available for your computer, don't keep putting that off. Make sure you practice routine maintenance, keep your computer up to date. The third is always make sure that you have a backup that the ransomware can't get to. Let me tell you what I mean by that is. When we talk about doing a backup, a lot of people will go, well, that's fine. I'll go get an inexpensive hard drive at Costco or somewhere like that, plug it into my computer, and Windows or my Mac will pop up and ask me if I want to back my stuff up and walk me through the process. The problem is this ransomware will not only encrypt what's on your computer, it will encrypt anything that's connected to your computer, like an external hard drive. Exactly. No. So the whole model kind of falls apart there. So the important thing to be mindful of is you've got to use something that is not connected directly to your computer. And whether that means you've got 2 external hard drives that you rotate, maybe to your bank vault once every week or something, or you're using a cloud-based service. The 2 biggest ones out there right now are Carbonite and CrashPlan, both really good, both have their pros and cons. But again, if my local computer were to get encrypted, I'd be able to get a new computer, go to the cloud and pull my data back down.
And if I'm using one of those remote services like Carbonite, we hear about that a lot, that operates automatically in the background. Is that correct? I don't really, once Correct. It's set up, I'm out of it.
Correct. Anytime you're connected to the internet, either one of those tools will operate in the background, and there are other ones out there if you don't love either of those. But the important thing is that the less you have to manually do something, the more likely you are to do it. So It's kind of like if you can have an automatic toothbrusher. You wouldn't ever forget to brush your teeth if that just happened automatically without you having to do anything. Your dentist would love that. But it does mean that those services are great, because you're right. They do just run in the background all the time. Once you initially install it, get it set up your payment for it, it just runs in the background anytime your computer is on and connected to the internet. There's nothing else you have to do. And that's an ideal way to do that, so that you don't have to remember to plug something in or click a button or do something.
So even though Carbonite, let's say you end the day at 6 o'clock and just leave your computer on all night, it'll do a backup of whatever it thinks has been changed. But
exactly,
that is not at risk of a bad actor coming in and corrupting. Is that right?
Not directly. And what would happen is that those systems are set up so that they're trying to prevent anything that has gotten hacked from getting up there. If not, they can do what's called a point in time restore, where you can say, well, all right, I got my computer encrypted today. I'm going to restore my backup from Tuesday, and I lose at most then a day's worth of work. Certainly a whole lot better to lose a day's worth of work than it is to risk a lifetime of work.
You're not kidding. As I'm getting older, that's more and more important. So, anyway, well, this is, I saw somebody had a sticker that they had come up with to put on their employees' bridge where their monitor was. And it said, think before you click that link. And somehow you have impressed in me, don't click a link if you don't know if you weren't expecting it and you don't know who this is, and you don't know where it's coming from, just don't click it. And
a healthy sense of skepticism on the internet is a good thing.
Well, Margie has threatened to divorce me when I have not clicked things she wanted me to click, but at least I'm safe. Is that
if it's a honey-do list from Margie, you should open it. You can't use me as an excuse.
You're right.
But otherwise,
right. Okay.
yes.
Well, you're just afraid I'm going to blame you. And you've seen her when she gets a little angry. So, what is, are these people, are they like masters of crafting these offers that make it sound so good that people say, oh, well, I'll just click this? I mean, how do they fool people?
So you're right. It is, there's a very specific psychological study to this, and it's called social engineering. And what they're trying to do is frequently if you go back kind of with a cool head and you read some of the stuff, they create what's called an artificial sense of urgency. Hey, if you don't click this link, this important document that could make you $1 million is going to go away in 8 hours. Or if you don't click this link, these important emails that you're waiting on will be deleted in 2 hours. They are creating this artificial sense of urgency. They're trying to make it look like a legitimate source that you trust. And the early pioneering versions of this was they just picked the largest banks. So Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and they'd send out these blanket emails. Well, they're certainly not going to hit everybody who's a Citibank customer or Bank of America customer. They're just playing the numbers. They figure, well, there's, millions of them out there. If I just send out these messages to millions and millions of people, some percentage of that, 10%, 15%, are going to either have an account with that bank or with that online service like Office 365 or with Google.
I have received things from, we bank with, it's now Wells Fargo, and I think they get the logo on it, and it looks like Wells Fargo dot maybe XYZ or something.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, wow, well, this must be from maybe their trust department or something.
Right.
And I've almost done it myself, but I think you've trained me well. So is there another way in addition to just being ever vigilant? Is there anything else that we can do as small business people to protect ourselves?
So there are a lot of good tools out there. A lot of them are dependent on you owning your own email domain. So if you're using something that is at yahoo.com or at gmail.com or at outlook.com, there aren't going to be as many third-party options available. But there are, for those folks who do own their own domains out there, lots of options.
I can't turn my phone off. Excuse me. Bam, bam. I'm sorry. I'll cut that out.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
So basically, so there are a lot of good options out there if you own your own domain where you can route mail through third-party systems that are looking for suspicious emails, for things that are doing what's called typo squatting, where it is Wells Fargo, but with an extra E on the end or an X somewhere in the middle. They're looking for those kinds of behaviors. They're using really impressive artificial intelligence to try and spot those things that they're trying to sneak past human eyes and trying to stop those from ever getting to you. And those are well worth it. We use a tool from a company called Barracuda that does a great job at this. Now, nothing's perfect. Again, a good, healthy sense of skepticism and guarded caution are really still your best tools to use good human intelligence to stop, particularly when it's something that seems like it's trying to prompt an urgent response, and taking a minute and just double checking that everything is legitimate. And ultimately, if you, for example, get an email from Wells Fargo that says, this is an urgent link, click on this and view it immediately. Don't do that. Open up a browser, type in for yourself, wellsfargo.com, log into your account. If that message is important, it'll be there too. You'll get some kind of an alert in the communication on the website. That way you remove that email and any links it may have from the risk pool.
TylerJones, as always, great advice for our digital world from Carmichael Consulting. Your name, phone, and website are displaying on the screen right now. Tell us about who your company serves, because I know Carmichael Consulting has grown dramatically. You guys are really taking on new business. Who do you serve?
So we typically serve businesses of 10 or more employees, up to about 200 employees is where we do most of our business. We work with folks across all sorts of industries, though, primarily professional organizations, so real estate, legal, medical, and financial. But anytime somebody needs assistance, even if we're not a good fit, we're always happy to refer them off to somebody that we trust to take care of them, no matter what their size is, no matter what the need.
Fantastic. All right, Tyler, thanks a million. We'd love to have you come back sometime.
Love to do it.
I promise if you send me an email and it's not from your email address and you ask me to click something, forget it. I'm not going to do it, buddy.
Good answer. Good answer.
God bless. Thanks so much and look forward
Thanks,
to seeing
John.
you soon. Bye now.
Take care.